Hi, I'm Jamie. This is Dead Dodge Garage, and this is Don's 1967 Dodge Coronet 500 convertible, which was just detailed, and I'm definitely going to ruin. Sorry, Trev. Okay, I feel better. Unless you've been around the channel for a long time, like, I don't know, a year and a half at least. I guess that qualifies as a long time. You might not even recognize this car. I haven't done a video on it in some time. We finished this car just in time for our customer Don to take it to the Sunbust Mopar show last summer. When I say finished, of course, I mean mostly finished, because there was a lot left to finish at that time. For one thing, we'd had an issue with the speedometer. It was inoperable, which was unfortunate. The entire cluster had been restored, so that's something you might like to see work. There were just a lot of little loose ends we needed to finish up, like this convenience light, which now lights, the clock, which now clocks. Details like the modern aftermarket wheels, the RT hood scoops, and the stripe that doesn't belong there are little tells to what this car is. If you know me, you know I like factory cars. I like factory carburetors. I like factory transmissions. I certainly don't like things like aftermarket K-frame setups or four-wheel wheelwood disc brakes or third-gen Hemis. This car exists right on the bleeding edge between those two ideas. It's a factory Type 383 big block, but it's wearing a Holley fuel injection kit. It has a classic auto air AC kit, but that AC kit is attached to a factory type AC box, which we installed. This is actually not a real AC car. We converted it using a template made off of another AC car. The console shifted automatic has an extra gear position right here. That's because it is no longer a TorqueFlite 727. It is now a kit from Silversports. Allegedly, that kit includes a General Motors 4L65E. 4L60, whatever. Way back when we were putting this car together, I did several videos on it. I explained that transmission, the different components that make it work, and the very mild modifications that have to be done to the car to make it fit. If you want to make a 90s Chrysler Overdrive transmission fit in your B-body, you have to do some pretty extensive surgery, like was done to the underside of this 70 Dodge Charger. Note, the center section of the transmission and torsion bar crossmember is just gone. To fit that Silversports kit GM transmission, you dent the floor right there, and you're done. It couldn't be any easier. The question I got repeatedly, what's that transmission like? Is it worth it? How does it drive? The thing is, I never did a wrap-up video because we never finished the car. Well, now we have. So today, I'm going to do that. I've never seen it with the parade cover on before. That's sweet. I love that it's black. The top itself is actually white. When I say the car is done, well, it's relatively done. There are some more details that need to be addressed. These, of course, are original door panels. The front one's in pretty decent driver shape. That back one needs some love. This might come as a shock, but interior panels for a 1967 Coronet convertible, kind of hard to come by. This is a real 500. Admire this 500 emblem, which Trev hand detailed. Very nice. The original dealer plate went back on the car. If it's not obvious, this is not a factory color. It's a metallic charcoal. It's subtle, but the metallic is nice. You may notice that the trim is not exactly perfect. There again is a piece that is hard to come by. That is rare and special trim. They are not falling off trees. If you know anything about 66 and 7 Coronet grills, you know that the headlight surround bezels are also always dented. And the ones on this car are no exception. Actually, the passenger side one's really nice. The driver's side one there needed some massaging to fit as well as it does. If a better one comes along, it'll go on this car. There's a lot of quality Trev work in this car. For example, that grille. Note the blackout. The bottom section is still shiny, but the middle section is black. There are at least 3 different versions of the blackout on a 67 Coronet grille. And then, of course, there's the 500 medallion in a special center section, and then that middle strip. Here's a basic Coronet 440 grille. Note it's got shiny verticals, but those little sections are blacked out. One of my favorite details found on only 67 Coronets are these go-fast grooves in the quarter panel. Those were first seen on the 1966 Dodge Charger. Of course, on the 68 Charger, they moved up here onto the door, and they're flipped around the other direction. The 66 Coronets don't have those, but 66 Coronet 500s do have shiny chrome trim pieces that mimic them. This special taillight and tail panel trim arrangement is also only seen on 500s and RTs. I think the blackout might be different between those two, but I could be wrong. Now that it's finally done, this dashboard is absolutely gorgeous. This was found in 66 and 67 Coronets. Note, this glove box door is incorrect. It's supposed to have a 500 emblem there as well. Don does have one, but it's in need of restoration. This one is a nice driver quality piece. There's more special 500 stuff. Now, Rocket got this car painted in a pile of parts. Kind of a nightmare. The rallying cry on this car, of course, was, "Everything is here." I assure you, it was not. I came into this project midway in Rocket's tenure with it. I did all of the setup here in the engine compartment. I wired it, I tucked in everything for the EFI system, I routed all the AC lines, the heater hoses, etc. I went to great lengths to hide all the stuff that doesn't belong and make it look clean and sanitary. That's very important to me on a job like this. Air conditioning? Yeah, I'm a fan. Sniper EFI? That thing stretched my patience and tested my resolve. It's working pretty well now. I'm not an EFI kit fan. Me, I would have stuck an Edelbrock carb on there and left it. In fact, that's what we broke the engine in with, and it ran just fine. We've got a coolant leak around that stud. It's not all that uncommon. That thing's gonna have to come out and get resealed. Like many other people, I find the idea of the Overdrive automatic transmission dropping in and fitting with no problem very interesting. I happen to have a 68 Charger that I love to cruise on the highway, and an Overdrive would probably improve things as far as fuel mileage and cruising RPM and noise. I'll just tell you right now, when I first tried this 4-speed Overdrive automatic, I did not like it. It shifted like a wet noodle. It was kind of terrible. Couple things about that. First, this transmission was bought so long ago that Silversport no longer sells it with the module that I mounted under this console. They offered to send the updated unit for a couple bucks. I decided to go with this one and try my hand at tuning it. And tune it I did, but not in the way I expected. I downloaded the software to communicate with that thing, and I got in there. I was looking at sensor outputs and settings. Then I realized they shipped these things with an A program and a B program. It was on the A program. I flipped it around to the B program, and now it shifts pretty well. Let's go see what that's like. Yeah, Sniper EFI. I have fought the idle circuit in this thing so much. It finally actually works, as you can see. It usually even starts. Driving slow on the gravel. No dust. I'm sure you can tell the front end of this car is lowered somewhat. It doesn't look like that serious of a rake to me until I sit in the driver's seat. It looks like it's on the dirt. Oh. I'd hate to lose my new DDG hat. Did you know we sell hats? We sell really nice t-shirts and hoodies too. And you can get yours at deaddodgegarage.com. I've got the shifter in the OD position, and I'm just going to take off heartily. Nice. See those nice firm shifts? It even chirps the tires in second, and you don't have to push it that hard. If you take it a little easier on the throttle, less chirp, less aggressive. It just shifts nice and firmly. With the previous tune, even shifting it manually resulted in a terrible, sloppy, disappointing shift. It is so much better now. Anyway, beyond the transmission, what's this thing like to drive? Pretty decent. It's quick. Also, the glove box just fell open. That's like a normal Coronet feature. Like I said, done is relative. There's always more to do on these cars. Hey, the speedometer works. This is the third car I've driven this way today. I think my favorite was the Daytona wing car. It's peppy. And again, I'm not flooring it or anything. Really not trying that hard. It's just a nice, fun driver. Whee! Handling. You know, I drove a 71 Roadrunner over this way today that has one of those fancy tubular K-frame thingies and coilover shocks. This thing handles better than that car. It corners flatter. It's way more awesome. Just saying. Sway bars, they're magic. I've said many times I'm not a convertible guy, and I stand by that, but This is a pretty great one. These Coronet 500 convertibles are rare and desirable. That 500 package isn't a performance package. It's more a trim and interior appointment package. But it sure sounds impressive. 500. And of course, this one has a 383 big block, so that helps. As you can see, it does pretty cool stuff. Yet another example of why I love 383s so much. When I say I went to great lengths to integrate the electronic components in this car, I mean it. I put factory-style plastic connectors on every separate thing that I had to attach to the wiring harness. Don't mind its self-tuning. That's a thing that it does. I feel like I could probably get the idle lower now. Like I said, that's been a real struggle with this sniper unit, and I don't even know why. Don, the owner of this car, is a super cool guy. He's a frequent character around Rocket. He's our resident AC guy. In fact, he's the guy that magically charged the R12 AC system in my ramp truck. It works incredibly well, so needless to say, I like Don. He's owned this car for many years, and unfortunately, when he went to restore it, it ended up in body shop hell for a very long time. That guy likes it. Unfortunately, in car restorations, that story is not uncommon. At least this thing did get painted, but then it was a stack of boxes for many years after that. So as I've mentioned, there are a few more things that could be improved, but hey, this thing is a great driver. It's super fun, it's beautiful, it turns heads as we've just seen. Overall, it's a great car. There's a neat touch. Factory type console mounted tach with a conversion board, so it actually works. I think Silversport calls this transmission setup the A51? A41. It's just a GM 4-speed overdrive transmission, their smaller one, with a conversion mount, some wiring, a module, some special pieces, a bell housing, etc. If you had asked me, after I first drove this thing on the original program, whether or not you should buy one, I would have said absolutely not. Now, yeah, it's pretty great actually. Around my house, we're big Coronet fans. Of course, we've got our 66 Coronet station wagon, but someday I'd really like to add a 66 or 7 Coronet 500 two-door to the lineup. I would prefer mine have a metal roof. That's just me though. Oh look, elk! That's actually what my new video spot is designed for, viewing elk. As I've shown in this video, this car handles very nicely, and here is a very important part of that. A big tubular front sway bar. If you don't have one on your B-body, get one. Trust me, it's worth the money. I actually did a video on the suspension setup, modest upgrades, and the alignment specs on this car also like a year and a half ago. So if you want to see more on that, go find it. I keep hearing awesome engine noises from over that way. No idea what it is, but it's cool. Anyway, I'm way out of time for today, so hopefully you enjoyed this quick look at Don's car. We may well see this thing on the channel in the future. Keep an eye out for Don and his 67 500 convertible at Washington area Mopar car shows. I bet he'll have it up at Sunbust again this year. I always look so out of place in these cars. As ever, thanks for watching. And remember, stop and think about it, but don't forget to start again. Oh yeah, don't mind the belt squeal. That's like a feature with these AC setups. You get used to it. One of these days I should probably actually test this thing on the highway. Hey, here's a funny story. I know I indicated multiple times in this video that this car is not 100% done. Mechanically, it was kind of supposed to be. But not long after I filmed this, the engine started making fun, exciting valve train noises. So, in the next episode, we'll be dealing with that. Keep an eye out for that coming in like a week or something.